welcome. Right, so today's stream is gonna be a little different, as I will not be reading the chat or responding to it, because today I will be doing a full workflow of me rigging and animating in Spine2D Professional. And I've had people ask me stuff about like, hey, how do you spine, or like, how's Spine2D? And every time I actually do that on stream, it's always like not really a full workflow. So this time I'm just gonna be focusing on rigging and also animating a character in tune with the song, in the style of a mustache character animation. Right, so I'm just gonna jump straight into it because I have not I don't know what to properly say other than immediately getting into it. So let's start with exporting the character. So how do I say this? When you want to animate a character, be it like a moving illustration or anything, it's very similar to how Live 2D works. You still have to need everything separated. But since it's not as complicated as Live 2D, or like the animation is not gonna be as complicated as a VTuber rigging, you don't have to have very complex separation. Plus, this already looks good enough. And this is the mascot for a rigger guild called Rigor Mortis. I am sounding very anxious or nervous, aren't I? I think I am. Anyway, right, so when you have Spine2D Pro, or like Spine2D in general, you will get this one script that you use to actually export anything from Photoshop right into Spine. Because unlike Live 2D, where you can just drag drop the PSD and it'll immediately open the file, you can't do that with Spine, which is a bit of a shame if you ask me, but there's some reasons to it. Anyway, I already have it here, but it will be included in Spine's folder when you download it. There's scripts, and you can import things from Photoshop, Inkscape, Adobe Illustrator, GIMP, and also Adobe After Effects. So for today we're gonna be using Photoshop because I don't use anything else here. So we'll just dive right into this. Right, so it's a script, and you don't really have to mess around with much of these. Maybe you have to mess around with scaling. If this character is like 4000, it's gonna lag your computer. Unless you have like a really good computer. But yeah. I don't think the character here, the PSD is that big, so I'm keeping it at 100%. You need right spine JSON to be checked. Ignore background layer, yeah, you don't need that. Trim white space, ignore hidden layers. There's no hidden layers. It's preferably you unhide everything to make sure everything gets exported. And make sure none of the layer names are the same. Otherwise, there will have problems with exporting it. Right, for output paths, you would have to, well, you have to specify where you want the output to be. For me, I already have a file over here. It's for Spine2D and Dr. Mort, so it's already defaulted there. Since the PSD is already inside this file, so it automatically does that. But I'm gonna put it into a sub file. I'll call it Spine2D Mort. And if you change it up here, you're gonna have to also change it down here, just so that the files are the same. Give it a while for it to export. And default skin have the same name code. Oh, okay. I just I just mentioned it earlier, where you can't have the names similar. I'm assuming that you can't have these logo things, so you need to right highlight, left highlight. Alright, give me a while for this, I'm very sorry. Right highlight. I wanted to try to do this as professional as I can, supposedly, but sometimes things like this are, well, unavoidable. Right ear and left ear. Left sleeve. Fingers, points of finger, palm, sleeve. Right sleeve. Right hand. Right coat copy. Left coat copy. Right coat copy. Left coat, wing, and undershirt. Alright, let's export that again. I'm terribly sorry for that little blunder. And Spine2D more, press OK. And it'll take a while to export every single thing. I would suggest you not touch anything, just in case it's Photoshop, you can possibly crash it. So, give it a while. It'll export. And once it is export, there will be... I don't need this. There will be a JSON file in the same name as the PSD file, and also an images file folder, where it has exported every single piece of the artwork, the separated artwork, into its own PNG. And like, to minimize the amount of size you need, right? So that's all for the Photoshop part. I should have saved that. Anyway, once you go into Spine, I am using Spine 4.0.62 Professional, and you could click Import Data, and then search for the folder that you just exported. Give me a while. I'm sorry. Alright, drmark.json, new project, create a new skeleton, import. Discard changes. Right. So now the file is already inside here. The JSON file is important because it actually... the Spine2D takes it and reads how the parts are layered inside. So you don't have to move it up here because this is the center bone, but I make it a habit to make it as centered as possible, or roughly centered, because this will be the main center bone. And yeah, now that more is exported, we will start with meshing. Right, to those who are kind of new to Spine2D, I will probably not fully explain how everything works, but I will show it and try to explain what I'm doing. Right, so before you actually start rigging, personally, I like to mesh everything first based on how I think it will move. So let's start with the eyes. Click on this part, like this little paperclip image here, and this is just for the actual meshes. The difference between Live2D and Spine2D here is that every single art mesh in this is in its own folder. So this, you don't edit the mesh from here, you have to click on this because this is the image, and then you can click mesh down here. And once you click on that, you can click on edit mesh, and you can either dim the mesh that you want to edit it, or isolate everything else so that you can only focus on this part. I like to isolate it because I don't have to see everything else. And you just... the the thing about Spine2D is that you would have to mesh this manually. There is a way you can auto mesh it, but I kind of recommend against auto meshing in Spine2D because it is not really that perfect. But you can use auto mesh to get the general shape and then edit it from there. Right. So this is how the mesh looks. Like, this is basic for very straightforward stuff. This is how you would basically do a mesh. But to make sure that everything is... Actually, no, never mind. Just to be safe, yeah, you should add one more layer in the middle here. Right here, I am clicking and dragging the mouse layer so that it creates this yellow line. This yellow line is what separates layers like this, because right now this will automatically add a line here, but if you put a yellow line here, there's a proper term for this, but I don't remember it, but it's to actually make sure that your line is going to deform that way. I'm trying my best to explain here. You know what, I should probably just show and less talking, trying to explain. You have to do the same for every single piece of the image. If there's a lot, then you're gonna have to spend some time working on it. It takes a while, but after a while it's kind of satisfying. So for now, I'm just gonna keep quiet and focus because I have pretty much explained everything I need about everything I think I need about meshing. So for now, I will just mesh without saying much. And yeah. The thing about Spine2D is that there are bounding boxes right here. Like, you can see that white thing over there, the white corner. You can't mesh anything outside of the bounding box, which can be a bit of a hassle for parts that are, well, very close to the edge. But yeah. Okay, if you don't click and drag, you will only create meshes like this without a yellow line. You can also connect two points by clicking and dragging. You don't need to create a new point for that. Just do that. There you go. Right. That is both of Mort's eyelashes done. We don't exactly need to mesh this because this is pretty much a circle and I don't think this is going to deform that much. But for the eyes though, the sclera, is that how you pronounce it? I think so. You would have to mesh everything as per usual. Since this is a full workflow, I will be taking my time. This is not a speed rig or anything. If you perhaps are experienced in 3D or also live 2D, you would get the understanding, you would understand how to mesh properly or at least how you think will work. If the mesh is not as you expected it, once you actually start rigging, then you can just get back into mesh edit and work on that. Maybe I'll move this slower. I'm also using a mouse and keyboard this time, because otherwise I am used to using a drawing tablet. Just a little info there. When meshing, you should try and follow the shape of the object that you're meshing, because that way you will be able to deform it how you want it, and it will give a 3D feel if you mesh it correctly. Which is why I mentioned, if you have experience in 3D, you can understand how and why meshing is somewhat important. Especially in Spine2D, you will need to understand how a mesh works. Or like the shape of the mesh. Right. I don't think I need this to be meshed. As for the palm, a little stubby thumb here. We'll make sure that thumb can move, hopefully. You don't need to overly detail your meshes, as long as you understand how the meshes will move and how it looks like when it moves. It should be good. I add yellow lines here to separate the meshes here from here, just in case it actually interferes with anything there. For the pointer and finger, I will leave it as it is because it is a solid object, so you don't really need to add a mesh to that. You could if you want to make it flexible, which maybe I will. Just to add a little more personality and squash and stretch, I guess. Maybe squash and stretch is not the correct term for this. It's something more of a motion blur. No. Alright, there you go. With yellow lines, you can also separate the finger from the actual pointer. So that way you can rig the pointer without affecting the finger. It will still affect because it's still in one mesh, but at least when the actual pointer bends, you won't see the finger bend that much with after weight painting, after rigging. That is a magic for later. For things like cloth, try to keep the amount of vertex on both sides around the same, so that when you actually want to add points, more vertex in the center here, you will have a clean grid to work with. That way your meshes will move more consistently. You don't exactly have to separate this because it's close enough, but I like to do that so that I can have a little extra movement there. For this part, I would like to separate this line so that it actually does not interfere much. Yeah. Actually, you can keep the meshes less like this. There you go. That's better. You can reduce the amount of meshes after you have properly understood the structure of the mesh. Because sometimes you can go, well, a little bit overboard. Right. The ear is one part that I am interested in explaining. Interested? So, see how the inside of the ear and the outside of the ear is not separated? And that's okay. We're not going for very extra movements, but with proper meshing, you can still achieve that 3D feel with the ear without separation. By meshing it like this, you'll be able to actually move the ear without it looking off. I don't know what my sentence is supposed to be there. I'm trying my best. Right, see? So let's say I select all these parts. When I move it, it can give off a little 3D feel. Right now, I'm not doing it properly, of course. But once you get into animation, you can deform this properly so that it doesn't have like edges like this. Or, you know, if you want to be safe, you can add more meshes here just to make sure the edges don't become jagged. Jagged, yeah. Maybe I will add some more here. Just to make sure that it doesn't deform way too much. Right. Now, you can move this without affecting anything in here. See, the only part that's being affected is here. Because we're moving this specific yellow line, these specific yellow lines, without interacting with this. So that's why where you place your vertex does matter. Because it can affect how your actual model or like animation will look like. I might add one more here. There. Hold on. Just a little bit more detail for the ears. So that it actually looks like it's going inside. So this way, I can animate this part going here, while these parts going inside. Kind of. Let me redo that real quick. To be completely honest, it's been a while since I've done Spine2D. There you go. Right hand. Let's add just a little bit of movement here. Adding some points there, and here. This way, we can move the fingers just a teeny tiny bit. There you go. Right, so when you mesh it like this, you can move these points. And technically do like a little finger movement there. Right hand, right highlight, right hand, right sleeve. Since the sleeve doesn't really have much details, you don't really need to mesh it. But since the sleeve attaches to this, I'm going to mesh it just a bit so that I can still deform it. One way or another. Sometimes you have to do edges like this because of the bounding box in Spine2D. That's just one thing that I still don't know how you get over. You overcome that. I've read up somewhere that you are able to do that, but I am not entirely sure. Right, so this way, if I add a bone here, this part should still stick to this sleeve, this jacket. Sure, the vertex aren't similar, aren't on the same space, Because this isn't live 2D, you don't need to glue things. All you need is weight painting. Similar to 3D models. For the mouth, you don't really need much detail for that. Just make sure that all the points are heading towards the center. At least this is how I'm going to rig this mouth. Different mouths, different meshes. For this mouth and this purpose, for the purpose of this workflow tutorial, not really tutorial, workflow video, stream, archive, I will make the mouth like this. Making sure all of the points go inside. See, because if you delete these, each vertex will find its closest neighbor to actually merge with? Merge? Merge is not really the correct term there, but this is where the yellow line comes in. So you can actually direct the line there. Alright, see, if I finish the mesh here with this line right here, when I move this, it'll only move that part. Which is why it's important to direct the yellow line there. Now it'll move the entire mouth like that. There you go. The undershirt isn't really seen that much, so you don't really need to mesh that too much. Don't need to do a very detailed mesh. Yellow lines to maintain the shape of each object. Detail. Rather than object. Detail, sorry. Right, so here's the wing. Now here's one of my favorite things to work on. Favorite and a little bit painful if you ask me. So for bat wings, it's supposed to have like a bone here, 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 and here. Since this is obviously an artistic style of choice, the bone is kind of curved here. So I will have to mesh it according to the shape of the wing. Doesn't have to be too detailed, as long as you know how it works, how it moves. It should be fine. We will, of course, have to rework some of the meshes, because sometimes the first time you don't really get the meshes correct. At least I don't. That's good enough. Satisfactory. To me, at least for now. Left sleeve. Let's work on the left sleeve. Same with the previous sleeve. Since there's not much details in terms of shading and everything else, you don't really need to have a very detailed mesh for this. Detailed is fine if you want to have more movements, but for the moment it is not entirely necessary. Here's ear number 2. There you go. Of course, as usual, we add a little movement here. Put some more vertex over here with yellow lines to determine the shape of the mesh. Just like the previous ear, you will have to follow the shape of the ear. And just one more line here, so that we can have a 2.5D effect with the ears. There you go. This will of course look better once you're actually animating it later. There you go. Just a little bit more and then we can get into the rigging phase. Meshing will of course take more time if you have more objects to actually mesh. Which is why, if you can, find a way to make it as less as you can, but still achieve that 3D feel and look to your models or your animation, then go for it. in this case, the model is already that simple-ish. It's not really simple, but like, it's not as detailed. Right, so for the head, it's a slightly different story. You have to understand the face structure. At the very least, understand how each part is going to deform and move when you're going to rig it later and meshing it. So like 3D models, you will have a line right down the center. So we'll start with this, since that's the center of the star thing on the head. We'll keep everything center right here. Delete that. Different faces will have, well, of course, different styles of facial features. So you can't really follow this one-on-one. There's probably a better way to mesh his face, but this is how I understand it at the moment, and how I understand it might move. There you go. Let's see if it works out well. There is an issue here, which I forgot to address. Like that. Give me a moment. Alright. We can fix that using bones later. Little stubby hands. Little cute stubby hands. Like that. I will say this again. the way I do the meshes is not the way everyone should be doing meshes. There are probably better ways to do meshes, which I don't do, because this is how I feel like the meshes should look like on my end. Right, now that all the parts are meshed, except for maybe a few parts that you don't really need to mesh, like this mouth, for example. Right, so after you've done all of that, we can head into the bone rigging. So for the bone rigging, of course you have to press create down here, and every single bone will go back down to the root bone. So a habit that I like to do is add another root bone somewhere, so that there is 2 bones. Also, you can click down here, this little box down here, the one that says bones, images, and others. If you unselect this, you won't be able to select all the images, and this will help you a lot in clicking on the bones without accidentally clicking on the meshes. That's one thing I forgot to tell earlier. Anyway, now I like to bring everything into this new bone, which I'm going to call, how do I rename this? Okay, root 2. So this way you can have more move around, yet still have the center here. Just for a little bit more flexibility. Right. So let's start with his very basic bones. His torso bones, his arms, maybe shoulders as well, and his head, and maybe his ears as well. So starting from the root bone, you would have to go up at least twice because your body bends twice. Maybe I'll make that shorter, like here. Since Mort does not have a neck, I'll just straight up do his head like this. Okay, so if you want to make a new bone here, you need to not forget to select the top torso bone. Otherwise, if you have this selected and you make a new arm here, the bone that's controlling that is the head bone. So that's something that you have to keep in mind if you want to work on rigs. Select the bone that you want it to be the parent, and then you add a new bone. There you go. You see the orange arrow? That indicates which bone this current bone is parented to. There you go. Let's make that 3. Muscle 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll have this part that goes here. This is for the finger bone. And then a little flexibility here that we can have on the pointer. Right. You can do this for the bones here. Let's say you want this straight thing to have multiple bones, but you don't want the bones to not be in the same length. I mean, you don't want it to not be straight. Just make a single bone, make it longer if you want, and then you can press split here. Let's say you want to make it, you want to split it into 3, and there you have it. You have 3 bones all split together, but they are not parented to each other. They are all still parented to this bone. So to fix that, select this bone, root 15C, A, B, and C, and then just click and drag those in here. That way, these bones are now all parented to each other. There you go. Right. Now, let's start with the bones for the ears. We'll have one bone here, and this is for the base of his ears, because once his ears flap, if you don't have a root bone for the ear for when it flaps, after weight painting, the ear will not be stuck to the head. So you need a root bone for the ear, and then you make the bones for it. Let's make this 2 bones is enough. We don't need too much. There you go. So this way, once you weight paint all 3 of these bones to this ear, at least the base will stick to the head using this bone. 1, 2, and 3. Now for the wing, 1, 2, then 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. There you go. Let's add just a little bit more bones here for his little fingers. Right, now that we have his base body all rigged up, I'm not really rigged, but all set up for rigging. Of course, we can't just jump into weight painting yet. We still have the coat and also his face. And for that, we'll have to select the top body here and add a base bone here and here because of the root here, and then we'll add 2 bones for physics. Spine2D does not have physics, by the way. You will have to animate all the flowy animations by yourself manually. But yeah. Right. Okay, I will have to personally admit I have never actually rigged a face properly like a live 2D model, so we'll have to explore that together. But I do know for a fact that if you want a 2.5D feel for the face, there are some bones that you have to set up on the face, right? Just like 3D, if you wanted to animate or like rig the eyes, you add bones to each of the eyelids. And that's exactly what we're gonna have to do here. Add 1 here. Add 1 here. Add 1 here. Maybe let's make that 4 bones. This might not even be the way you do it, but this is my understanding. Two, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's add a center bone for the eyes. And let me reselect everything here. And put them into this bone. There you go. So this bone will control the entire eye. This is actually harder than I thought. Hold on. So the way you start rigging with the face, there's a thing called bone constraints, and I don't fully have a grasp on that yet. So I hope you bear with me. I'm going to try something first, real quick. Real quick. Weight painting. Bind. Right, that's close enough. Right, let's explain. Let me explain how weight painting worked. So the way you weight paint something is by selecting all the things that you want to weight paint. Click on the weights tab here, click bind, and then click on all the bones that you want it to be weight painted to. And then right click to click as done. I might have done a bit of a blunder here though. We do not need these bones to be weighted to the eyelash because those are the lower bones. Neither is this one. Right. Let's put everything into the bones first, actually. I'm already not that systematic here. Organized. Systematic. Let's change the names of the bones first. Head. Right. Sure, if you couldn't tell, I'm not actually very... Yeah. I don't do this smoothly. Ear, base. Ear, base. Ear 1. Ear 2. Ear 1. I Didn't know you can't do that. Year 2. I'm going to stop trying to explain and just rig it. So if there are some inconsistencies with how I do stuff, I'm terribly sorry. Face control. I will start explaining once I get to the face though. So apologies. Finger. I'll just keep that as root. This arm 1, arm 2, hand, finger 1, thumb. Okay. Wing, base, wing 1, wing 2, wing 3, wing 4. There you go. Coat base, coat base, coat 1, coat 2, coat 1, and coat 2. There are still some roots here. That is the eyes. My bad. Eye. Main. Eye. Main. Top eye 1. Just copy that. Top eye 2. Top eye 3. By 4. Eye 1, top eye 4, top eye 2, top eye 3. Renaming in this program is a bit of a hassle. Top eye 1, bottom eye 2, bottom eye 3, bottom eye 4, and highlight. Bottom eye 1, that is 12. Bottom eye 2, bottom eye 4, bottom eye 3, and highlight. There you go. That should have everything prepared. And mouth. There you go. I'll add one more bone here. Mouth too. There you go. That's good enough. Right, let's start by putting everything important into each bone. Right, so right now everything is in the root 2 bone. So if you rotate this, of course it'll rotate everything, but everything else is not parented properly yet. So we have to do that. Select the mesh that you want, press P, and then just click on the bone that you want it to go to. That's how easy it is. Throat, tooth, and also mouth. Parent it to the main mouth bone. Ear, parent it to the base bone. Base bone. This one, parent it to this bone. This one and this one, both of these parent to this bone. These two onto this bone. This to this. This to the arm. Hand, of course, to the hand. Hand to the hand. Pointer to the finger. Let's add a thumb here. I forgot about that. There you go. Now everything should be moving properly. There you go. There you go. Right. Except for the wings. You know what? No, never mind. I'll do the wings the same. Right. So let's start with weight painting the wings first. So I showed you earlier how to do the eyes. I haven't really cleaned that up yet, but just like usual, click weights, bind, and then click on all the bones here. And there you go. Now, of course, the auto bind will work as intended, but it's still not as perfect as you would expect. Which is why we still have to check if it's okay, but I think it's okay. Let's remove this. Right. It's acceptable. Except for this part where we will remove this. Right, so when you do weight painting, each bone does have a color, and you can see how much the colors are affected by each of the bones. And if you want to remove how much a bone affects a vertex, just click on it, and then you can either increase it. Wait, how do you increase it? Wait, did that change it? Okay, yeah. You can either increase it, or you can reduce it fully, which I'm going to reduce it just a bit. I'm gonna reduce it the most here, here, and here. That way, once this rotates, it doesn't really... No, I should do that. Add some more effectiveness there. Right. Weight painting, you don't get it in the first try. You have to trial and error, basically. Keep trying. But once you get it, it's pretty good. See? That's nice to look at. Let's add a little bit of orange here. That way the bone there moves. Right. Now here's a little trick that I like to do to make the wings flap nicely. Add a new bone here. This is going to be controller bone for the wings, because instead of, well, selecting each of these bones and then animating it one by one, you can add a bone constraint here and control all 3 of the wings at once. And you know, you see here, if you try and select all 3 together and rotate it, it's gonna rotate the same amount, so you don't really see the flapping there. So what you're gonna have to do here is just gonna rotate that to 0. You can change the icon here. I'm gonna change it to spin because this thing's just gonna spin. So now you click on all 3 of these. No, click on each one of these. Click new, transform constraint, and click this. And this is going to be wing base 2. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna name it as that. Right. Just click match, and what this is gonna do is basically you can control how this bone moves by using this bone. So let's say I want this bone to rotate. Wait. I think I did that incorrectly. Select the controller bone, then transform constraint to this. There you go. I made a mistake there. Basically, you have to select the controller first, then the bone. And then let's say you want this bone to rotate 100%. So let's bump that up all the way to 100. Can I undo myself at that stream earlier? I was right. You select the bone that you want it to be controlled, then you select the controller bone. And then you bump up the rotation to 100. Now you can rotate this and it'll follow. Let's bump that back down to just 75. Now you do the same for the rest of the bones. Wing 3. But this time, you change it just a little bit less. Like earlier here, on wing 2, we had 75 effectiveness mix. And for wing 3, we have it on 50. So for wing 4, let's put that on 25. And that way, once you rotate this, it will flap properly. Because you're controlling how much each bone rotates using this. Now if you rotate this, each of this bone will retain its rotation, which is why it still flaps like this. So if you do this, it will flap a bit there. Yeah, you don't really see it that much. There you go. You can also add a transform constraint here if you wanna have it all together. Let's put that on 25 as well. That way you can what, Kobe? Yeah, that doesn't actually look that good. You know what? Let's not do a constraint there. There you go. That's good enough. That is satisfactory enough. I'm very sorry. I'm a bit scuffed at tutorials. This is why I don't teach. Then again, this is not a tutorial. This is a full workflow. I'm sorry. I need to stop talking like that. Let's bind this to here. And also the shoulder. Don't forget the shoulder. So you can move this, and you can see that this is affected by the shoulder. Now, because it disconnects here, you should add more points here and here. Just a bit. And then you can just smooth it out. This is a feature that I like in Spine, is when you're doing weight painting, or basically glue in Live 2D, you can just smooth everything out. And there you go. This won't move as much, so this is good enough. This is good enough as well, yeah. We will also add weights to these, this, and this. Bind. Right, so a thing that's gonna happen is when you try to weight paint something that's not, like the bone is not inside the mesh, it will not register that when weight painting. So you have to add the weight paints yourself. And here's where the smoothing magic comes in. Boom. It'll just smooth it out right there. And there you have it. It works out well. You can also probably add one more bone here so that it flaps a bit. I forgot to do that, so we're not gonna do that. Are we? Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Now let's bind this again. There you go. Rotate this. But we will add more rotation for the shoulder at this part. Wait, hold on. I messed up. I forgot to add bones, vertex here. There you go. My bad. There you go. And smooth it out. Click on rotate, and there you have it. There you go. Shoulder works out well. You know, maybe I'll push this in. Because you don't really see that part anyway. There you go. I made him slimmer. Right. Weight, bind, root bone, root 2, and top torso. And maybe the shoulders as well. Bind. Now, the good thing about root is that you can add this full weights on the bottom so that once you actually rotate this bone, the body will stay there because it's rooted to the root bone. So now the shoulders also work. There you go. We have not weight painted this yet, so we shall do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bind. Orange at max. Just a bit there, just a bit there. Spacebar to deselect everything and smooth. There you go. Let's re-add 100% here. There you go. Okay. Right. So for this, bind. Select the shoulder first, arm 1, arm 2, and bind. Add some blue points here, 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 and also here, maybe a bit here. And then you smooth it out, so that way, when you rotate the shoulders here, right, let's do that again. Full weight, extra weight, extra weight, extra weight, extra weight. More weight there, more weight there, more weight there, full weight there. There you have it. It's not perfect, but it's something at least. I should probably have the arm on top. No, that's fine. Okay, weights, bind, all through this. It's very subtle, you don't see it that much, so you don't have to fix much of the weight painting there. Weights, bind, this one and this. There you go. Just a bit of the thumb moving around here. Little stubby thumb. Right, for this part, this is where extra weight painting comes into play. You need to make sure that these parts are not affecting, like all the other bones here are not affecting this bone because this is the finger bone. But then again, maybe just a bit is fine. Let's see how that looks. This is just for a little extra animation detail. The head's done. I'm pretty sure the entire body is completed. I'm going to have to move the left sleeve under the coat. There you go. Wait, have I not? Oh, I haven't done this yet. I'm terribly sorry. Wait, bind. This, that, bind. There you go. Wait, X. Make this more. Smooth it out, but maximize this weight. That way, this should bend well enough. Alright, there you go. We'll go for the ears first before we go on to the hard part, which is, of course, the face. Let's add weight painting to the base, ear 1 and ear 2, bind that. And here is where we have to increase the weight paint on these parts, because they are on the ear, on the head. So this way, once you do this, the base of the ear still stays there. A thing you can get away with rigging things in Spine2D is how stiff something can look. Why? Is because, well, you're not doing a full 3D model. You don't actually have to completely weight paint everything perfectly. As long as it works in the amount of movement that you're looking for, it's good enough. Like, see, if I exaggerate this is gonna bend really weird. But then again, the only movements is gonna be like this. So you don't see it that much. Also, remember when I talked about bone constraints? There's a lot more you can do with bone constraints in one model, in one rig, but I'm gonna do it the most basic way and not add it to the ears and the coat and everything. It's because there are things you can do with the ears with bone constraints, but I'm not gonna go too deep. But we are gonna have bone constraint hell with the face. So for starters, let's weight paint the face to the base bone and also the face control. We're gonna have to add more weight paint for the head around here, because those aren't supposed to affect much. And then we'll smooth that out. Let's test this out for now. It's not perfect, but it's there. Add some more head control here, 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 and here. Maybe reduce that. Add some more here. Use that as well. Let's redo the mesh for the head, actually. Just gonna do that. See how that looks. That does actually look a lot better. Right, let's add some more bones. One over here, one over here. This is for the small face turn effect that we can achieve. But before that, we're gonna have to add these two bones. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me move this closer here. And then we'll bind that. Let's add more purple control here, 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 just a bit here, more here, just mostly here, just a bit here. Then add more orange control. Max here, 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 just a bit here, mostly here, and just a bit here. Okay, so if we take these two, smooth it out a bit with the head. And then add constraints to this. Transform constraint to the face. Right cheek. Translate. Since we want the face control to move to the left of the screen, and of course the left cheek, from our point of view, will have to move inwards for that little head turn feel. We have to make the mesh move in the negative axis. So let's add that to negative 25. So that way, once this moves here, the little piece here moves that way. Let's add some pink here and here. There you go. See? There's a little 3D effect there. Let's add more pink here, actually. Right, now we add this here. This is the right cheek. Oh, I mean like left cheek. Since that one's also gonna be the opposite way, let's also do negative 25 for that. That way, when Mort looks around, the head turns. The face is not moving yet, of course. But if we turn off all of this and the mouth, you can see that the head kind of turns, right? There you go. There you go. We can also add the constraints to the ears as well, so that it also moves with the face. This is left ear. Match, translate. Since this will follow the head shape on this side, we'll add just like 20. I think 20 works. 15. How about 15? Also with this one, transform constraint. Right ear. Match, translate that by -15. And there you go. A little 2.5D movement. It's not perfect, but it's there. Definitely there. Right. Now for the hellish part. A part that I have never actually done yet before. It's for the eyes. I have, of course, weight painted it earlier, but now we're gonna be playing with constraints again. So to do that, I'm gonna add some more controller bones for the eyes. Let's pair that to the root. So this is the left eye. This is the right eye. Let's put both on 865 so that it's same height. Let's change both of those bones to an eye bone. There you go. So this is what controls the blinking, supposedly. Add transform constraint. Eyelid top 1. Eyelid top 2. Eyelid top 3. And transform constraint. Eyelid top 4. So I should be able to do this. So if eyelid top 1, I'll move that by 5. Oh, this is 0. Eyelid top 2. Let's move this by 25. This is 3. And this one, 100. See how that looks? That looks very weird. Let's put 10. 50. Guys, do you mind? I'm not gonna do the face. I'm sorry. I'm not that advanced yet. This stream has turned very uneducational because I gave up with the eye rigging. Let's just do a very simple eye rig that I have been doing. As long as I've used Spine2D. It's a lot simpler and it still sells the effect well, but it's not as advanced as this one. I am terribly sorry. Right. Let's add constraints for the eye here. But this time, what? No, I'm sorry. Let me do this differently. Let's parent these eyelashes and the eye to this bone first. So if I were to scale this down, no, I can't do that. I'll completely admit, face rigging and Spine2D is not my forte. I'm just gonna cheat this part, to be honest. I'm gonna cheat this part. Let's add new transform constraint here. I translate 10. Add transform constraint here. 20. That way, once you move the face, it should move as well. There you go. That's acceptable enough. Add transform constraint and mouth. This should be the last transform constraint. Let's make that 20 as well. There you go. There we go. That's acceptable. I think everything is properly rigged. So we can get into animation. Right, before that, let me make sure I have the audio in here. Open a new window. There you go. Alright, let me pause the music. And then we can add this into the animation. How did I do this again? That's very loud, I'm sorry. Alright. Let's make sure everything is properly sized there. That shocked me so much. I'm sorry for that. Anyway. Let's get into the animation. The actual animation time. That was so loud. Right. So basically, I will be animating Mort to the tune of that song earlier. And it will be bouncy. Hopefully it's bouncy. I want to make it bouncy. So let me try and imagine how his actual movements is for now. I know that like his arms will flick the thing. So let's add keyframes on his arm first. Let's add rotation to his body as well, and the head actually. It's gonna take a while, actually. No, that's too fast. So trying to make it sync to the beat of the song is a challenge in itself. So trying to get this working. Let's make a new event. Beat. Let's stop the song here for now. Right. I forgot how hard it was to actually sync something up to a song like Mustache. Do I still have the option for the old graph? No, I don't, do I? Oh well. Let's just add that to everything. This beat. It's not really into the beat, but it's close enough. It's a bit stuttering, huh? That's so fast. I'll try this again. Hold on. I'm sorry. Alright, let me check if this is properly synced up. 108. That's between. Okay. So this is 108, this is 1021, 1033, 1045. I feel like this is consistent, so hold on. Let's try copy pasting this, see if it's actually. No, it is not. Close though. Copying only one piece, please. Try copy pasting all this all the way to the front. See what that does. Like, does it sync up? Alright, let's delete everything that's not the root bone. Let's delete this. I'm gonna redo this. This one as well. Alright. I got this in the same beat, I'm assuming. It's close enough, it's close enough. So let's redo this part. Now let's see how this works out. Try and get every single piece of this in beat first. Why is it not synced up? I don't get it. That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I'm sorry, Spine, but I do not like your new graph editor anymore. It's very weird. I don't know how to use it. It's not selecting the thing that I want to select. So inconsistent. No, I wanted to do this in one sitting, but honestly, this is my first time using Spine 4.0 since they updated. So they actually changed a lot of how you animate something in Spine, so I don't think I'm gonna be continuing the animation on stream. So much for a animation workflow tutorial stream, eh? Yeah. It changed a lot, to be honest. I'm too used to the way you animate in the old version that animating in the new one feels really weird for me. Like, I was actually waiting for the new update with the graph editor and stuff. But after using it, oh god, it feels so weird. Bum 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 bum. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. I don't want to fucking give up. I'm actually kind of pissed at right now. Like, I have to double click a keyframe to actually select it. I didn't have to do that back then. You know, this stream is not... It's no longer a... I'm gonna stay professional stream. I'm tired. I'm tired. I give up. It's because Spine changed, and I'm not used to it anymore, apparently. No, I have to triple click to delete something now. It's not normal. That's close enough now. It's close enough. as what I wanted. Not too bad. I'm getting there, I guess. Right, now let's do this one. Let's do this again. It's working out, actually, now that I vented out. Kinda hate it though, but it's working out. Can I please just move this? Stop. How did I add value before? I can't select multiple keyframes anymore, can I? Oh, I can. Alright. This head movement's a bit too much, hold on. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's cute! There you go. I'm getting there, yay! Now I'm happier. There you go. Oh, so that's where you select it. That's cute. Can I please move this? Excuse me? Oh my god. There you go. Zero 0.5. Oh, I haven't saved this yet. This entire 2 hours, I haven't saved anything yet. More loot. Sweats. I completely forgot to... Well... Oh well. It's weird how the beat over here gets faster, but then again, I don't understand music that well, so maybe that happens. I don't know. There you go. Right. Honestly, as much as I want to finish this tonight, because I wanted to finish this all in one sitting, at least I got to the animation part, and I don't think I'm gonna be reading any chat or answering any questions, so I'm just gonna immediately head to the chat screen. And I'm very close, aren't I? Hold on. But yeah, I never set up a chat here, but yeah, I'm not gonna say much since I still have chat closed, but yeah, that was a workflow of how I rig an animated character on Spine2D. It also includes me thinking about my life and why am I doing this. So if you're interested in it, you can watch all three hours of this stream. Yeah. Anyway, I only have one other announcement, which is tomorrow I have an Apex collab stream with 2 other VTubers, and I'll do the schedule for that tomorrow. I'll schedule the stream tomorrow, and yeah, gonna end the stream here now. I'll probably post the. It depends. Maybe I'll post it on my account, or maybe it'll be posted on the Rigor Mortis account. But I'll finish more dancing animation sometime next time. But yeah, thank you for watching. And this has been my workflow, and I'll see you guys next time.